Yeah, you've got to, this is what you've got to love about nature. I came up to this site about probably 4 weeks ago, maybe 5. And I could stand here and see right to the top of the hill, and this looks like it had just been coppiced. Look at that already. In 4 or 5 weeks, some of these plants are as tall as I am. Right, dead simple. No frills. Poncho shelter. I've got my gear in there. You can see it's not very big. It's a standard military poncho. Not sure what country it's from, but it's really thick. I'm no knots man. Terrible with knots. Loop with the rope threaded through it at one end. I'm going to wrap it around the tree a couple of times and feed it back around itself, and then basically tie a slip knot in it. It's not going to go anywhere unless the wind really gets up. Loop with a toggle. That'll be Dave Canterbury style. First time I saw him use toggles, I found 1,000 ways to use them. Again, same sort of knot at this end. One pull on this and that'll come off. And the same over there. It's not a particularly great spot, but it's nice because you've got a view out into the woods over there. There's a footpath over there. But it's taken me about 5 minutes. The reason I didn't show you it on film is because it's raining and I wanted to get my gear under there. I've got a mobile phone and stuff with me, camera. But this is lunchtime venture up to the woods. Probably be up here a couple of hours and make myself some food in a minute. And I'll get back to you in a minute. Well, actually, I suppose I should give you a quick look round. Well, you've already seen it. All I've got down the back there is just some sticks. Oh, it's really starting to rain now. Some sticks holding it in. I don't normally tie the hood off. I just make sure it's facing downhill, and then the water doesn't come in through there. I've used this poncho hundreds of times. I used this poncho in Sweden to sleep outside when it was like -20. Wasn't particularly comfortable, but I didn't die, obviously. Anyway, I'm going to get a fire going, and I shall go and sit down there and make myself a comfortable seat where I can sit for the next half an hour, and we'll do a fire and some food. We're going to use, if I can get it out, a small piece of one of these, which is a mini Inferno. And these burn for a long time. And they have the advantage that you can break them up into bits. So we'll see if we can't get a fire going with one of these. I haven't got anywhere near enough wood prepped. There you go, it's off. So we'll move one of these larger sticks over. Like I say, this thing should burn for a long time, and we'll see where we can get going. I can smell the wood burning already, so that's a pretty good sign. Like I say, the way we're going to be cooking, we don't need a big giant fire, so we'll start it off small and gently. Not raining anywhere near as much as it was half an hour ago. This is actually the first time I've used one of these mini Infernos to try and light a fire. A lot of this wood I'm putting on here is damp. It's not wet, but it's damp, so you might see me embarrass myself by when the fire go out on me. But hey, this is England. Once it started raining, it tends to rain days at a time. get ready with some prep. What we're going to be using is Dave Canterbury's Pathfinder, the canteen shop. So you've got a mug to cook in, a little stove on top of your fire once it's done, and a water container. Foolishly, I'm going to have to cook it in there, which looks like it's just got a load of leaves in it. I'll have to put the water in there. But we've got to wait for the fire to die down a bit so I can actually get that on the fire. So we'll use it as a campsite at the time. Yeah. This piece of kit is excellent. It's very strong. I had a bit of trouble with the first one I ordered. It had a bit of a leak in it, but Rob at the canteen shop, or his wife, someone down there, did a really good job and basically sent out another one. Obviously the postage from America to the UK is quite dear, so I offered to pay the postage for them. I think they would have paid the postage anyway if I'd have asked them. But I'll be honest with you, you don't need a fire much bigger than that to boil a litre of water with. And in a bit you'll see what I'm talking about. We need to get some ashes in and some embers. So I'm just going to sit here and smoke myself a cigarette. I'll be back in a bit. Right, well, we've got a decent bed of embers going now. So without burning myself, I'll try and put that on top. I can't leave this too long because otherwise I'll miss the opportunity and we'll have to relight the fire again. And I really must remember to bring a tripod with me next time. So we'll get some water on the go. That should be plenty. That handle's going to get really hot. What I've got over here is small sticks because you don't really want much more than small sticks to do this. And then chuck a few down each side. And I'll put some in there. And you'll be surprised if this fire actually takes off again now that I've just practically killed it. You'll be surprised how quickly you can get this water to boil. I do keep meaning to order a lid for this, but I'm not a person that obsessively blows fires. I generally kind of work under the impression that if the base of the fire is good enough, as you can see, if the base of the fire is good enough, you don't need to blow it, it will catch fire in the end. This is putting quite a bit of smoke off. I also brought with me my bag of delights, just in case this all fails abysmally or it really starts to chuck it down. I brought a triangular stove. Yeah, that handle is pretty hot. And look at that condensation on the bottom. It's heating up. So anyway, dinner time, lunchtime. I have some quality 20p Tesco's noodles mixed with Mattison's so-called spicy sausage, which is not very spicy at all, but it's nice. For dessert, I have a Fry's peppermint cream, and for drinky poos, that's a Cadbury's, I think. Drinking chocolate. I don't like coffee very much, so I tend to use drinking chocolate more than anything else because it tastes quite nice. So one side of the fire is burning quite nicely, but the other side's refusing to go. I'm sure it'll burn in the end, so we'll stoke it up a bit more. And all I'm doing is basically just keeping the fire going around. You don't need a huge, great big fire just to boil some water. So let's get these noodles in there. Again, I apologise for having to keep cutting and cutting and cutting, but I didn't bring a tripod with me, so I can't just stand it somewhere because it's raining and it's wet everywhere. And the noodles are not boiled yet, but they're plenty cooked enough to eat. But I think I'm going to leave them for a little while and let them actually boil and try and get rid of some of that water. Right, I'm boiling away, good and proper. And as you can see, you do not need a gigantic bonfire to boil up some water. Now, even if you've just got one of these Guyot bottles, I don't know, I brought this with me, don't really need to, but even just one of them, that can just stand in the fire, a fire that size, and it will boil the water. And this has taken about 15 minutes. Guys, if you're going up to your local woods and stuff like that, you don't really want to attract attention to yourself. A little tiny fire like this is plenty enough to cook yourself a really quite a nice meal. It's all darkening up now, turning into a really nice colour. I'm going to let it steam for a while. I'll get back to you in a bit. I reckon they're about ready to eat. And what I'm going to do, because I've only got one cup, I will take the cup off using one of nature's gloves. I'll quickly whip the lid off the bottle. And I can get it on there without burning my fingers. I'll get that water on the boil in there so that when I finish my food there should be nearly some boiling water for lunch, for a cup of hot chocolate. So the water's boiled in there on that, what was left of that tiny little fire. This is one of the reasons why I love this canteen set. Look at the colours. Probably difficult to see in this light, but the colours. This is gone. Yes, that was my skin burning. Look at it, blue and purple. Now, when I get home, I can give that a bit of a brush off with a Scotch-Brite, and it'll go back to stainless steel again. And the next time you use it, it'll go a completely different set of colours. It's so cool. The issue I've got at the minute is, as you can imagine, with that water bubbling away in there and the flames licking up the side of it. That bottle's really very hot. Probably too hot for me to pick up. So somehow I've got to get the water into there, and I normally bring a Leatherman out with me. Forgot to pick it up this time. So I'm either going to have to do something with sticks or just burn my fingers. Unfortunately, I've always thought burning your fingers is part of going up to the woods, so I'll get back to you in a minute, guys, when I've actually sussed out how to do this. We'll try a couple of leaves first. Yep, leaves work fine. And now I've got myself a nice cup of potentially slightly noodle flavoured chocolate. I ain't going to try and drink it yet because, I mean, it's just baking hot. I've got a little bit of boiling water left in there to give this a clean out afterwards. I've got a Scotch-Brite with me, or a piece of Scotch-Brite that's already had some washing up liquid detergent thrown in it. So all I need to do is a little bit of water, and I can give the cup and the canteen a bit of a scrub up, because I certainly wouldn't want to leave it like that. This stuff is very sticky, and it's going to just cover everything in it. So, like I said earlier, you don't need a huge bonfire to make yourself a meal out in the woods. A small one is plenty. You know, you want a big fire for drying your clothes out, cooking a meal for 5 or 10 people, but just for you, or you and the missus, or you and your 2 kids or 3 kids or whatever. You don't need much more than that. I've made meals for me and my 2 kids and my missus on a fire not much bigger than that, using this kit, a zebra billy can and a garlic bottle, and everybody's had noodles and sausages or something along those lines. I've even done a fried breakfast in that very cup there. Do yourselves a favour, don't put scrambled eggs in one of those. I've twice now let my daughter cook scrambled eggs in this one and in my billy can, and it is an absolute nightmare to get out. It took me an hour of scrubbing to clean this up last time I used it. I'm going to get on with munching my chocolate. I've ordered another battery for the camera. This one really doesn't last very long, it only lasts about half an hour, so I have to be quite careful what I film, but slowly but surely over time, the more videos I do, I'll get better at it, hopefully. Much the same as archery. But I've been coming out of the woods like this since I was a teenager. For 10 years I've not really had the chance to do it. With the missus working freaky hours now, early shifts, late shifts and stuff like that, I get a lot more time where I'm on my own and obviously I need to find something to do. So I'll be coming up here a bit more, but I'm going to call it a day for now, I think. I'm going to sit here and drink my hot chocolate, clean up, obviously do my best to hide that and make it look like no one's been here, and I'll see you guys again. Thanks for watching. So last but not least, when you leave, it wants to look like that. Same as when you came. Don't leave your fire just sitting there. Dig it over, flatten it out, make sure it's nice and cool. Some ground like this can actually catch fire underneath your fire without you realising. So you want to make sure that it's safe before you leave. And just a quick scoot over, no pieces of string left tied to trees, nothing like that. Now some of you might notice this old rickety tree that I used to tie off to. Not in a good way. If I was staying here for the night, certainly would not tie off to that tree. It's as good as dead. With a crack running right the way down the middle of it, it actually looks like it's been struck by lightning. But if I was here for the night and I tied off to that tree and the storm whipped up, I'd be pretty nervous about that coming down on my head.